moment you came crying into this world, your first blinks fluttered an image of those who loved you most, those who cherished you above all other things. Reveling in your potential to grace the world with what knowledge they so eagerly intended to teach you, these new faces would become all too similar to your 3-minute-old eyes. Birth. What other times in our lives are we more innocent, more readily available for the breath of Earth's steadily sifting current of life to sweep us off our pale little feet? What is an event only reprinted into our older mind's eyes by means of dusty photographs is something of far greater meaning to those who introduce us to this world. What seems as though only a small indent in the span of our lifetime imprints something irreplaceable in the hearts of our caretakers. An image not only of who we are, but who we will be. Someone to carry on our family's proud name. Someone to spellbound those surrounding them with the attributes that stemmed from the very hands that held us when we weighed less than what we had to offer the world. Someone to perpetuate the honor of what our family's roots, our culture, meant. But what is our culture? The chocolate-covered faces of our youth would tell us it's the color of one's skin. The holiday celebrated, native language words conjugated, old withered grandma's words fixated on uttering those silly-sounding parables on your belated birthday. Interestingly, our sticky-fingered, Elmer's glue-covered, hazy definition of this word culture is exactly what so proudly distinguished us at a young age, holding us close to what we love most, our family. Show and tell. The ever so turbulent battleground at which each member of the class flaunts their family's homemade this and antique that. This childish exchange of differences is a beauty looked over all too easily. For we live in a culture today where what surrounds us is what molds us. What is electronically shoved down our throats somehow does not flow down with gravity to our stomachs to be digested, but upward with a rising sense of confidence, built and tended to only by a false sense of acceptance. Ask yourself what it may be like for the caramel-colored girl stepping foot in the hallways of middle school for the very first time. Ask yourself how she may feel when her pride in what set her apart from others all her life is precisely what drove her into the corner on the very first day. One mispronounced word is all it takes to ignite her hunger to please those around her. All it takes to strip something as beautiful as an accent from her lips. What is she to do next? Confused now with mixed feelings about her roots. How is she supposed to love what so effortlessly distanced her from her new peers? Was she to go home teary-eyed to mom? Of course not. She was older now. She needed to take others' thoughts to heart, not just her family. But how? How would she learn to fit in? Whatever the cruel, venomous ambiguity of those words insinuated, it was as if they were branded into her dark-skinned forehead. Fit in. Be normal. Such remarks took a place similar to those of curse words in her family's minds, but that was neither here nor there, not anymore. She was older now. In a media-littered world, it would not be long before our caramel-colored character would stumble upon the internet, a vibrating frontier whose mouth watered voraciously waiting to sink its pop-culture-ridden fangs into the flesh of another adolescent. For what is she to find when she searched how to be pretty, how to be popular? None but the faces of those whose skin matched each and every page, previous face after wretched face of pale teeth mannequins highlighted by nothing but blank eyes with no story to tell. Ask yourself how she'd react to this. Who are they? Why are they so skinny? Do I need to be that skinny? How can I be as wanted as they are? These are questions no one could protect her from asking. Would she truly have fault for asking them? After all, she'd been so aggressively thrusted into a community which desires only one over-perpetuated image. Every girl is to be slim-bodied, grimly trimmed from head to toe, trained to know that their new materialistic characteristic, ballistic to misfits, was all part of a new serial code that made up the ideal girl. It was as if every aspect of who she once was, anyone for that matter, was to be torn away, sprinkle-coated, and handed a venti non-fat, triple-punt white chocolate latte with easy ice. She didn't even like Starbucks. But this is who she was now. This is who she wanted to be, right? To be wanted. This is exactly who she strived to be. To end the tears of her peers peeled from her eyes day after day. Another object ready to be swept off his feet by a male trained since day one to crave every sugar-coated aspect of all who she wasn't. Did it feel good to be accepted finally? Yes. At first. Being wanted was what everyone craved, right? Despite how each one behaves. But imagine now the moment when she's to realize that everything that made up who she was now was but a sick illusion, shrouded over her love-struck eyes. Imagine the moment when she who was once proud of her roots, is so deeply part of what dilutes American culture that her sorrowful arms, weighed with the cries of a newborn, can no longer hold the arms of the life that she's borne all these years. Can you imagine the horror one may find themselves a part of, coming in contact with the truth that the only aspect they ever loved of their masquerade of a relationship was the false sense of being wanted by someone trained to want exactly who they weren't? All she ever wanted was to be wanted, and all she ever wanted was to be worth.